Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to build some serious confidence with counting and place value. You know, if jumping around in large numbers has ever felt, well, a bit overwhelming, you're in the exact right place. Our main goal today is to keep math totally simple and straightforward.
So you might be wondering, how do we make counting past 100 incredibly simple? The secret is all about visual tools. We're going to strip away the complexity entirely. There's no need to memorize massive, endless sequences of numbers. We just need to spot the repeating visual patterns right in front of us.
We're going to follow a super clear roadmap today. First up, we'll cover the basics of counting, then we'll master number tracks, jump onto number lines, and finally, we'll solve some real number puzzles.
Let's dive right into Section 1, the basics of counting. We'll look at the simplest rules for going forwards and backwards.
Take a look at this challenge. What's really interesting here is how it asks us to start from a random number, not just 0. The prompt says, start on 25, count up in 100s. Now, at first glance, taking massive leaps of 100 from a number like 25 might sound a little intimidating. But let's look at what actually happens.
Look at the sequence: 25, 125, 225, 325. Notice the pattern? Here is the absolutely crucial point. Only the hundreds digit is changing. The 2 and the 5 and the 10s and 1s columns, they literally do not budge. Once you realize that counting by hundreds is just dialing up one single digit, the whole thing becomes a total piece of cake.
Now let's see how this visual trick builds into our next tool in Section 2, Mastering Number Tracks.
So number tracks are essentially just grids that keep our numbers organized. But honestly, figuring out the blanks can sometimes feel like a bit of a puzzle. You've got these connected boxes, some have numbers, some are completely empty. To fill them in, we just use a basic, foolproof rule.
It's a really straightforward two-step procedure. Step 1, just look closely at two numbers that are right next to each other and find the difference. Are we jumping by 10, by 100, going up or down? Then, step 2, take that exact same jump and apply it to the empty box.
Let's see that in action. Check out the first two numbers on this track, 1,000 and then 900. The difference is pretty clear, right? It's a decrease of exactly 100. Apply that same jump to 700 and you get 600, then 500, then 400. Once you spot that basic repeating step, solving the grid is practically effortless.
All right, we've crushed number tracks. Let's explore a different visual tool in Section 3, jumping on number lines. Number lines use this really great visual metaphor of jumps to show exactly how we're adding or subtracting. So while a track is just a row of boxes, a number line physically maps out the distance, kind of like a ruler. Those arched arrows above and below the line literally draw the path of the math right out for you.
Keeping it simple and straightforward, right? Just look at the arrows for your direction. A jump of plus 10 moves you to the right, so your tens digit goes up by 1. A minus 10 jump moves you to the left, so it goes down by 1. You really don't need to do any heavy mental math. You are just adjusting visual dials.
Here's a perfect example. Say you look at an arrow showing a plus 100 jump, and it lands on 342. If you need to find the starting number, just reverse it. Drop that hundreds digit from a 3 to a 2, making it a minus 100 jump. Boom, your starting number is 242. It really is that easy when you think visually.
Now for the really fun part. Let's apply our skills in Section 4, solving number puzzles. Check out this mini mystery. I think of a number, count on 100, then back by 1. I am on 500. What number did I start on? Now don't panic, this isn't some scary test. It's just a sequence we can solve by working our basic visual rules in reverse, kind of like a detective working backward from a scene.
Her final destination was 500, right? Well, her very last step was going back by 1. So we just do the opposite, go forward 1, which puts us at 501. Her first step was to count on 100, so we reverse that and count back 100. Take exactly 100 away from 501, and you're left with 401. Case closed.
Let's look at another scenario. Maris is using physical base 10 blocks to count backward by tens. Her sequence is going great, 331, 321, 311, 301, but then she says she's stuck.
So, why is she stuck at 301? Take a look at what she's holding and what's sitting on the table. She has 3 solid 100 blocks and 1 tiny 1-unit block. She needs to take away a 10, but physically, there are no individual tens rods left for her to grab.
The solution here is wonderfully visual. She just needs to make a trade. You literally take one of those big hundreds blocks and exchange it at the bank for 10 individual tens rods. Suddenly, she has plenty of tens. Take one 10 away from her new pile, and that 301 drops effortlessly to 291. It keeps the math grounded in actual physical reality.
Before we wrap up, you can see how this final quiz brings everything together. It's asking you to identify the plus 10 or minus 100 patterns in these new tracks. And whether you're jumping from 205 to 215 or dropping from 905 to 805, the strategy is exactly the same. Find the difference between neighbors, isolate the column that's changing, and just keep that pattern rolling.
Now that you've seen how simple and straightforward skip counting really is, it's your turn. What kind of tricky number mystery will you create to test your friends? Try combining a jump of 100 with a drop of 10. Make it a real visual puzzle. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep looking for those patterns, and remember, math doesn't have to be complicated, it just has to make sense.